Well, all right. One of the things that you all will get to know about me is that I have a lot of opinions on a lot of things, and I am more than happy to share them. Um, One of the things that I do have an opinion on is the supply chain, and how that is impacting local businesses, particularly local Black businesses. A lot of times we hear about these things, the Suez Canal getting backed up for almost a week. We hear about the storms in Texas, and depending on where we live, we don't necessarily understand the implication that that has on us at a local level. We also tend not to think a lot of times about the impact that it has on small businesses. Uh, we're going to have an opportunity now and get ready to talk to Derrick Machado. As I told you, he and his wife started the brand D. Lori Apparel. And they've been doing it since 2016. Now, that's not his first foray into business, but Derrick will tell us a lot more about his experience. And let's see, because, I've got to make sure I'm doing the technology right. There we go. I think, here we go. Derrick, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Will, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you too, sir. All right. That sounds wonderful. Wonderful. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome, greetings, and salutations to you. Now, I
Thank
told
you.
him, I don't know if you heard me. I told him a little bit about you, where you came from. I actually didn't get where you came from because we have a friend in common.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are certain stories that, we might not want to delve too deeply into, but that's okay. We'll talk about that later. I got you for 2 shows. Who knows what's going to happen?
Exactly. Exactly. I'm here. I'm here, brother.
All right, cool. So, want to talk first a little bit of give the audience an opportunity to get to know you and your business, to talk about how it started. Now, first of all, I'm going to
Mhm.
spoil it, and I know because I know you love saying this, but when I heard you say it the first time, it hit me really deeply. The name of your business is D. Lori,
Yeah.
um, D. Lori Apparel, and when you told me that about that name, what you said was that is your nickname and your wife's nickname together
Yes.
because you all were two people coming together as one to build something better than you both separately. Am I capturing that right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about. I mean, I know we don't have your wife on today, but tell us a little bit more about you and your wife and how you even got started in this.
Well, when we were young, we were always, into fashion. So,
Hmm.
back in my days, I know a few, and I know some of the listeners probably don't know these, but the Le Tigres and the Pumas and those back in the days when they first came out, we was a part of that culture.
Oh yeah.
Um, the beautiful thing about that back then was the colors allowed you to express yourself. You could walk down the block, two people wearing the same outfits with just different colors, and that kind of displayed, your expression and things of that nature. So we've always been into fashion. Through the years, I did music for 25 years as music producer, artist. Um, One thing that a lot of artists were doing at the time was to diversify their revenue streams. They were trying to start clothing lines, and I kept telling my crew, I'm not doing that because I've always been the type of person I want to know what's going on. So I wasn't the type of artist that just write rhymes and hope I got royalties. I wanted to know the revenue. I wanted to know the stream of the royalties, how the residuals look, the publishing. I wanted to know the business of it. So when I learned the business of fashion, I was like, the licensing. I was like, a lot of people don't really own their IPs, and I was like, I'm not really into that. So it's not that I'm a control freak. It's in my eyes, my crew. I don't worry about us eating. I worry about our kids eating. So to me, it's important to own the IP so we can make our money generational.
So
And
wait,
that's always been my attack toward business.
and I appreciate that. I will make sure that we all on the same page. When you're talking about people who don't own their IP, you're talking about intellectual property, right?
100%. Like in
Okay.
music, a lot of artists don't own the masters. Actually, a lot of artists don't really know this, but they don't even own their names. You know, like
Absolutely.
like Jay-Z owns Jay-Z Inc. Madonna owns Madonna Inc. So a lot of artists, when they sign a recording contract, they don't know that they're actually signing over, you know, the IP to their name, which is actually
Mhm.
their business. So it's always been important to me that when I say me, it's always my wife and I because we've always rolled. So
Right.
what's always been important to us is we want to own what we do, so we
Mhm.
can control if we want to let it go or we want to continue with it.
Okay. Okay.
And that's important because I know my nephews and nieces and my children watch what we do. So I've
Okay.
always been very, very particular about that. Even in, like, there were times where, people be like, okay, can I invest in your company? We're not really looking for investors because
Mm.
investors start to change the mission of the company.
Okay.
It starts to turn into revenue, which is the meaning of a business.
Hmm.
But if you don't attach a certain mission statement or a certain purpose with that, what is the real purpose in my view? That's how I feel. So,
So, so, for-
um,
so for
mhm.
you, it's not all the way about. It's not all about the money. It's not all about like how much money you get. So, if that's not the thing that's driving you, what is driving you?
What was driving me is the purpose of people. I don't like to say people person because some people start to think that you're just satisfying people's. No, what I mean is like someone's well being has always been important to me, whether I
Hmm.
know them or not. If I see somebody in the
Okay.
street and I see them distressed, I'm like it eats at my core.
Okay.
So our brand is based on that. Our brand is based on people, meaning I just spoke to a young gentleman yesterday. We did a pop, and I was telling him, I was like, we design clothes so you can express yourself in the way that you choose. We don't design clothes telling you, no, this hat should be with this shirt and these sweats.
Hmm. Hmm.
We design the clothes so you can put them together how you want to tell your story. We just
Okay.
want to be a part of your story. We don't want to tell you what to tell the story, how to tell a story.
Okay.
So I know, when I speak to people, I tell them money's not really important, and they get turned back on that. They're like, I don't get. That's not the meaning of business. I'm like, no, I'd rather make a dollar and make sure somebody's good with it.
Okay.
Because
So,
yeah,
no, I'm saying so for you, there's this balance between getting the money that you need to live and be comfortable and making sure that your business model or the way you do business has a positive impact to the people that you serve.
100%,
Okay.
hundred
Cool,
percent,
cool, cool, cool,
hundred
cool.
percent.
That's what's up, man. That is what's up.
Thank you, thank you.
So, let's look at it a different. Oh wow, did I take myself out the string? I don't know what just happened, man. I think I pressed the wrong button. There we go. All right, because again, so my producer, Crazy Horse, he's not here today, so I'm doing production and stuff. Oh, but I'm okay though. I'm okay. We're gonna have a couple of glitches, but it's gonna
As
keep on.
all entrepreneurs do, many hats.
So absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about that, the mini hat pieces.
Yeah,
Right now things have, I mean, nobody who said what their 2021 was going to look like, I don't think anybody was right. When
yeah,
when you started in 20, the 5-year plan back in 2016, yeah, none of the last 2 years were part of it.
yeah.
And it wasn't like the supply chain was doing all that great before COVID. So the question to me and for our audience is, how has the pandemic and the supply chain challenges, how have they impacted your business?
Um, the pivot that we took during the
Mhm.
pandemic was very interesting,
Okay.
especially to everybody on the outside.
Mhm.
We did the complete opposite. I like history. Whatever I get into, I like to study the history of it, music,
Okay.
fashion, all of that, any business in general. I've learned that in depressions, like financial depressions or things of that nature,
Mhm.
the businesses that can actually withstand that and get through that, they they flourish. And so that was
Okay.
kind of a confidence builder for me because when the pandemic hit, you know, the sales that we had, it's not like they went from like just say from 10 to 2, it went to 0.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I sat there literally and I was speaking to, my wife and I having a conversation. I was like, should we keep on? What should we do? How should we do it?
Mm.
And so what we do in situations like that is we actually break everything down. She's like, look, if we close everything down, what happens? If we double down, what happens? If we stay
Mhm.
doing what we're doing, what happens? Let's run through these scenarios. What we chose to do at the time was double down. So I went through I'm I guess you could say I'm emotional when it comes to business. If
Mhm.
I do something and I don't see it moving, I kind of get emotional, like, you know what, this isn't working, let's do it. So my wife, she has a funny way to counter that. What she does is she'll be like, look, vent, go ahead, let it out, quit, we're done, let's close them down, we're done, I get it. And then I wake up but she always tell me, let's sleep on it though. Say what you're gonna
Hmm.
say, but let's sleep on it. And then I wake up in
Right.
the morning like I got like 15 ideas and I'm sketching them out. And she's like, okay. And I've learned that, you know what, when you feel a certain way,
Hmm.
you need to acknowledge that. So some people might say, like, you know what, get over this or no, acknowledge the feeling. So